Woman gives birth to 70-year-old man. If you heard this headline, you would definitely tune in to see what the story was. We all are born and age year by year, step by step. If we heard this headline, it would attract our attention because it's not natural. It goes against everything that makes sense. The same can be said when we're trying to accomplish a goal or break a habit. We cannot get there all at once, but we can if we break it down step by step. I chose to do this topic because I have used baby steps in my life to accomplish long-term results and achieve goals. The purpose of my speech is to persuade you that baby steps are the most effective route to obtaining long-term success in your goals. I believe this for 3 reasons. First of all, bad habits take time to make and they take time to break. When we take little goals instead of lots at one time, it's a lot easier to adjust to. And when we see the benefits of our little steps of change, it continues to encourage us to progress to the next step. And we become more successful in achieving our goals. The first point I'd like to talk to you about is bad habits. It takes time to make them and it takes time to break them. Think about a baby when they're learning to walk. They don't just get up and start walking one day. It's a process. It takes steps to get there. The same can be seen in nature. A tree doesn't just pop up out of the ground overnight. There are lots of steps that happen in the ground before we ever even see it break the surface of the dirt. In an article called Breaking Bad Habits in the National Institute of Health's monthly newsletter, they explain that habits are formed because of repetition. When we enact a series of actions enough times, it becomes a habit. And when that happens, our brain goes onto autopilot. We can literally shut our brain off and perform the task and never even realize it. And it frees our brain up for other things. You can see this can be very dangerous, especially if it's an unhealthy habit. The same can be said for unhealthy eating habits or financial habits. In his book, The Complete Guide to Money, Dave Ramsey explains that taking control of your money is 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior. If we want to change things, we have to change the behaviors that are causing undesired results. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is how many changes can be system overload. Think about that baby again. If we just put the toddler in the middle of the floor and told him, okay, walk, they would fall. There would be tears and probably a lot of them, and we would have a big mess to clean up. Now, Dr. Lickerman explains in psychologytoday.com that when we're making a change, we go through phases. We first have to contemplate that we even want to make a change before we do anything about making it. This just goes to show, again, that everything is a series of steps. In an article on the APA's website, Dr. Lynn Bufka explains in reference to New Year's resolutions that setting lots of goals throughout the year is a lot better than one overwhelming goal in January. It's a lot easier to maintain small goals than it is one large goal. The last thing I'd like to talk to you about is the benefits of little steps. Our brains are made to do things systematically. That baby walking around that table, he takes one step away and he sees that he can do it, and it encourages us to continue to make steps. Everything we do, we are wired for systems. We're wired for processes and order. Once we see we can do one little thing, it encourages us to continue on doing other things. There was an article published by Cedars-Sinai Medical Center about a man that was paralyzed in a motorcycle accident. He was told that he had at least a year in a wheelchair and probably his whole entire life. But he decided to take it one step at a time. First, he was just going to figure out how to roll over in his bed and get himself in his wheelchair, which he did. His head had the knowledge, but he had to build up the muscle strength and the muscle memory to obtain the goal. When we break things down into small steps, we can obtain huge goals. And he was walking again in 5 months. Now, in conclusion, I'd like to remind you that I think baby steps are the most effective way to obtain long-term results, because bad habits take time to form and they take time to break. Lots of change is way harder to keep than little changes at a time. And when we see the benefits of little changes, we're encouraged to continue stepping on in a positive course. I feel I'm able to speak to you on this matter because I have used baby steps in my life and attained goals in my household of maintaining a family of 8. And I've seen family members maintain long-term results by breaking things down into small steps and achieving big goals. We all have things that we'd like to change, and we probably have not been successful at a lot of them, but maybe that's just because we tried to leap before we could walk. Remember, next time you want to achieve a goal, break it down into small steps.